The passing of Demond Wilson marks the closing of a chapter that quietly shaped television history and personal memories for millions of viewers. He died on January 30, 2026 at the age of 79 at his home in Palm Springs, California. His death was caused by complications related to cancer, a condition he dealt with privately and without public attention. The confirmation came from his son, Demond Wilson Jr., and with that announcement, a long and meaningful journey reached its end. For many people, the news did not feel like a sudden shock. It felt like a realization. Demond Wilson had not been in the public spotlight for many years, yet his presence never disappeared. His work continued to circulate through reruns, online clips, and conversations passed down between generations. When his death was confirmed, the reaction was not loud or chaotic. It was reflective. People paused and looked back. Demond Wilson is most widely known for portraying Lamont Sanford on Sanford and Son ***, a sitcom that aired during the 1970s and became one of the most influential comedy series of its era. The show was built on humor, but Wilson's role provided balance. Lamont Sanford was written as responsible, observant, and grounded. His character often represented restraint and common sense, qualities that helped the show feel real rather than exaggerated. Over time, Wilson's performance gained greater appreciation. Viewers who revisited the series later in life noticed how much emotional structure his role carried. He was not the loudest presence on screen, but his reactions, timing, and consistency shaped the tone of the series. Without that balance, the show would not have aged as well as it did. The success of Sanford and Son opened many doors for Wilson. Opportunities to continue acting in television and film were available. However, rather than pursuing long-term celebrity status, Wilson made a decision that set him apart from many of his peers. He stepped away from mainstream entertainment. This was not a gradual fade, it was a deliberate change. Wilson chose to focus on faith and personal development. He became an ordained minister and later an author, writing about spirituality, values, and discipline. He spoke openly in interviews during that period about the dangers of fame without purpose and the importance of grounding one's life in meaning rather than recognition. That decision shaped the remainder of his life. He did not return to Hollywood seeking renewed relevance. He did not attempt to rebuild a public image. Instead, he remained consistent in his choice to live privately. Over the years, his name appeared less frequently in entertainment news, but his influence remained steady through his work and personal philosophy. In his later years, Demond Wilson lived quietly. He rarely gave interviews and did not maintain a public social media presence. When he became ill, he did not disclose details publicly. This approach was consistent with the values he had lived by for decades. Privacy was not avoidance, it was intention. After his death, that same approach continued. Only essential information was shared. The family asked for space and no extensive public statements were released. This led to questions from fans, but it also reinforced an understanding of who Demond Wilson was beyond his television role. Rather than focusing on ceremonies or public events, many people began reflecting on the broader meaning of his life. They revisited episodes of Sanford and Son and noticed how naturally his performance still fit modern viewing. They shared memories of watching the show with parents or grandparents. For some, Wilson's work was tied to childhood routines and family gatherings. For others, it represented a period when television felt more grounded and character-driven. What made his final goodbye different was not the absence of information but the clarity of his legacy. There was no controversy surrounding his death, no conflicting reports, no speculation about his personal life. The facts were simple and the focus remained on what he contributed rather than how he left. Demond Wilson's impact extended beyond acting. His choice to walk away from fame challenged common assumptions about success. In an industry that often rewards constant visibility, Wilson demonstrated that stepping back can be a form of strength. His life showed that identity does not have to be defined by a single role, even one as iconic as Lamont Sanford. Many fans have noted that his passing feels personal, not because he was constantly visible but because he was consistently present during formative years. His character represented responsibility in a comedic setting, and that image stayed with people as they grew older. When he died, it felt less like losing a celebrity and more like saying goodbye to a familiar figure. As time has passed since his death, attention has remained focused on his life rather than logistics. There has been no confirmed public funeral announcement. No official memorial details have been released. If private arrangements have taken place, they have not been disclosed publicly. This has been confirmed by multiple reputable sources. However, this absence has not diminished the significance of his farewell. In many ways, it has redirected it. Without a defined public moment, people have created their own forms of remembrance. Through discussion, reflection, and revisiting his work, Demond Wilson's final goodbye has become a shared experience rather than a scheduled event. His legacy can be understood through three clear phases. First, his contribution to television during a transformative period. Second, his decision to redefine his life away from fame. Third, the quiet dignity with which he lived his later years and exited public life. Each phase carries equal importance. He was not only the character audiences remember, he was also the individual who recognized when his priorities had shifted and acted accordingly. That consistency between belief and action is part of what makes his story resonate today. Demond Wilson's final goodbye is not marked by spectacle. It is marked by continuity. His work continues to be watched, his decisions continue to be discussed, his influence remains present without needing reinforcement from public ceremonies. As of now, there are no changes to the official status regarding memorials or services. If verified information is released in the future, it will come through established channels. Until then, the focus remains on the substance of his life rather than the structure of his farewell. In the end, Demond Wilson's goodbye reflects the way he chose to live: purpose over performance, privacy over promotion, meaning over visibility. His story does not conclude with an event, it concludes with impact. And that is why his final goodbye continues, quietly, through the people who remember him.